Turbo Tim here with ZZPerformance with the next installment of the white Cruze project. I wanted to put valve springs on this car for a while because we have our Z04 turbo kit that's making about 25 pounds of boost, and the horsepower always seems to get a little jumpy in the higher RPM. Well, we decided to just put valve springs in it. Generally, you'd put a cam and valve springs in it, but I figure we'll just do one at a time. So let's see how it does. It did about as expected. Horsepower stayed about the same. I mean, there's a little bit of boost variance here from day to day, pull to pull. But as it got into the higher RPM, it did stay smoother. The old one was bouncing up and down pretty aggressively. This one stayed quite a bit smoother. So we went from, I mean, the peak numbers, you know, it made 229 wheel horsepower at the peak here. It made like 224 before, but as you see, the average power gained is quite a bit because of this gap. As you see here, the horsepower lines matched. That's just because that's all these cams are capable of flowing. So on the next video, we'll probably throw a cam in it and see how that does. It did have a little bit lower boost up here, even though the power is the same. It did make the same power with lower boost. That's because every pull I was getting a blip of KR right in this 6,300 to 7,000 RPM window. Generally about 3 degrees. I think that's just because, I mean, we're running, you know, 25 to 25.5 pounds of boost on 93 octane. So that's pretty aggressive. I do want to point out, I have to keep reminding you guys of this. This is an auto Cruze that is always going to read lower than a manual tranny car. But I will say, since I'm the tuner of the 1.4s, most of the cars I'm tuning are autos. So this, I think, applies more to our average customer. But yeah, so they did exactly as I was hoping. I was kind of crossing my fingers we were gonna make a little more power, but I think that's purely because of that blip of like 3 to 4 degrees of KR I get every pull right there. I did like 3 or 4 pulls trying to get one clean one, and all of them seem to have that little blip. My prediction for the cam and what it's gonna do, I'm going to guess that we're gonna pick up some mid-range power. Cams always seem to get really happy in the, you know, 3,500 to 4,500 RPM range. And then I foresee this power carrying out. So instead of it falling off around 63 to 6,500 here, it's probably gonna carry all the way out to 7,000, which makes a lot more fun power band. I mean, a lot of people talk about shifting at your peak power, but that's definitely not true. You wanna shift at to give you the best average power. So this car, I still have the shift points at like 7,000 RPM, even though the power band is falling off pretty hard. But when it shifts, it's gonna drop down in the power band. And then at that point, you're gonna just go over the hill and have the highest average horsepower for the amount of time you're at full throttle. So I would say next up will be cam. We'll see how it does.